I was doing a bit of research online about this little dealie right here, the SG220, and what I found was a reference to it right here, the R39, the thermistor R39 limits surge current through the bridge at power up, and that's all the information you can find right there. So I took the main thermistor, googled it a couple of times, and found this. I was like, oh, it's only 200 or €2.14, why not? Postage, €20 for 3 of these things. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna search somewhere else. And I found an eBay page that has the exact one, it's the exact same brand and everything, identical. But $19, US shipping $13, and then another $8.35 on top of it for 20 of these thermistors. So yeah, I was kind of like, no, what's the actual value of these? So I went here and pretty much they appear to be 10 ohms, 3 amps, NTC thermistor surge protected. So that's the information that I was looking for, and I could confirm that right here where it says 10 ohm, 3 amp. This website pretty much had the exact ones as well, SG220, pretty much the spec that I was looking for. So I just started picking up these kind of off-brand ones, $2.99, free shipping, bing bang boom, done. So I'm going to get 20 of these. So if they do come cheap, at least I can test them and see if they actually work in this. So fingers crossed this actually does do the job, because I don't really want to have to spend €20 on these thermistors. They seem to be a little bit overpriced, if you ask me. But yeah, gonna wait for these to come in, and fingers crossed they should be in soon. So it has been a month, and I have been waiting for the replacement for this thermistor. If I can get the focus, there we go. So I've been waiting a whole month to get this thermistor replaced due to the damage to it, due to literally snapping, and this was what was rattling inside the machine. Just giving myself a little bit of an update on it, but I finally got my cheapy thermistors. I'm hoping not cheapy as in last me about 10 minutes and then die cheapy. And this is the replacement that I'm going to use. Now, there's not much in the line of difference in size. Realistically, it looks identical except for the markings on this. And I did confirm that this is an NTC thermistor, just like this. And basically, right now I'm just fingers crossed that this is correct, and I'm just going to solder this into place on my analog board. And as far as I can tell, I tried it with a multimeter. It is not polarity sensitive, so it doesn't matter which way I put it, but I will be facing the text the same direction as that, just because. So we are all clamped into place, and I've just started popping in the thermistor right there, as you can see. It's actually quite a handy little design that they have. It's kind of bent on the legs, so it just pops right in there and it doesn't budge an inch. So that's pretty cool. Something simple, but it still works pretty well. Looking on the back right here, the solder points seem very clean. There doesn't seem to be any cold solder points where you would usually find cold solder points. Looks like this board is a very clean board actually, from this side. I will be actually reattaching this here as well. I won't be using resin, I will be using a type of glue. The resin didn't do much good, so fingers crossed the glue is a little bit better for it. But yeah, that will be going back on as well. I've been using it actually to hold the screws from the machine in until I actually got this thermistor, which again took a whole month to get here. So let's solder this in and see how it goes. So we have now soldered 2 solder points there. This thing is quite stable in there, so it is now. It's glued as well. So unless I'm really trying to push this down in or try and purposely break it, it's going to break. So we also have the thermistor properly soldered in there. As you can see, it's nice and shiny, and so are these. I decided to do a dry solder on this, or without any flux or anything like that, and it came out pretty well. And here is our thermistor, and it is in there good and proper. So I'm going to test this board out now. So if I just take everything out of the way, I've turned off my... what I'll do is I'll put the camera down for a second, so I have both hands, and we will take a look at it. Okay, everything's back together. It only took a few minutes to actually put this back together. It's a fairly simple machine. If you know, I'll just turn that off. Yeah, it's a very simple machine once you know what you're doing. Only 2 cables go into the logic board. The analog board is probably the more difficult part of the machine, because it also is an analog. It's an analog board and a power supply at the same time. So basically, it deals with the deals with the display, and it also outputs power, or brings power to the motherboard, and it also, yeah, you get what I mean. Right now, everything seems to be working, or not working. Everything looks good. We still have to plug this in. I'm a little worried because not with my soldering skills, but with that thermistor, if it's the correct one. I don't really want to see anything die. I've got it all soldered in here, and I'm just really fingers crossed, hoping that nothing goes wrong, really. So what I'm going to do is I have it set as off. I'm going to get my step-down converter, and we're going to hopefully test this. Oh, I left out a button for the... I'll put that in now. Back in a bit. Okay, so we have my American... Sorry, a bit dark, but we have my American step-down converter to my American cable from my NEC laptop, which I want to make a video about soon. But I'm just waiting for something to come in the mail for that. But anyway, I'm actually kind of nervous because this thing has popped on me before. Oh shit! So I do believe that this part right here is actually balled up as well. That's a pity. So it did blow the fuse again. That's a pity. So I'm back, a little bit demoralized, but still hoping I can get this thing working. So I've been looking over this board like really thoroughly just to see if I can find anything that looked burnt or anything else that looked a little bit worn. And what I found was this rectifier right here. Apparently it's a common issue that the rectifiers burn out, but I don't know if you can see it, but it's the metal is burnt, or not, well, it looks, how would you say, let's see if I can zoom in here. It doesn't look shiny, it looks darkened, that like there's been heat on that for a while. So, and also I've been testing it. So this rectifier is a anode rectifier as far as I remember. So basically, I haven't done this type of thing in years, but if I remember correctly, these things are supposed to have electricity flow one direction, and it's only ever meant to flow one direction on these. So technically, if I was to test this, it shouldn't show anything going both ways. So what I'm going to do is the top is the bottom is the anode, which is the positive, and the top is the I'm thinking. Anyway, back to school I go. But cathode. There we go. Jesus, I haven't done this stuff in a long time, and I'm bloody having to think up of it and everything. So I have my crocodile claws right here. So technically, I should have not. It should literally block. So there's my crocodile claws connected to my multimeter, just so I can use one hand, and I'll just connect this to the top. So technically this should not work, this should not show up with anything if I put, because electricity is only ever meant to flow one way on these things, and this is how I kind of figured out that it's faulty, because I've found that the electricity is flowing both ways on this rectifier. So if I, yeah, there we go. So we're getting, so that's where our short is this rectifier. And if I was to do it the opposite way around, so black, switch the negative to the top. The way it's supposed to be. So this is connected to my negative, and I put positive to the bottom. Still reading. So generally, with if you were talking about a capacitor or something like that, generally this would sometimes read like, well, a fuse anyway, or LED or something like that. This would have it no problem reading. Actually the good example is the thermistor. That's non-polarized, where this is polarized, but electricity is only ever meant to flow one direction on this. So what I'm guessing, please don't kill me in the comments if I'm wrong here, is that this thing has a short inside it. It's completely blown, so it is now fused or something in there, and electricity is going through it and going back out, and it's shorted. So it is. It's not doing its job. And also it's fairly discolored and looks a bit bent and everything, so I'm guessing it's had a hard life. Looking online, it seems to be a common issue. Same with this one here, but this one here seems to be working fine. I'm debating whether I should just order a new one of these anyway, just to be sure. Again, to be honest, I'm not too used to working on power supplies. We do have D11 here, but I've been checking online. That doesn't seem to be a common issue. Also, that it reads perfectly fine on the multimeter. What I'm hoping is there's no big components that's actually blown, like this thing right here or this thing right here. I'm not even afraid to touch those things. So I am. Things that would be hard to find. I'm hoping that's not. But I have found this part right here for €7 including postage for one in the mail. That should be coming in soon. Because it's coming up to Christmas, I might be waiting another month for this part, even though it took me a month to wait for those. But that just shows you I wasn't being vigilant. This time I am, and I'm going to actually order this one as well, just so I can get both of these in at the exact same time. And I just want to get those two replaced, because I'm just a little bit paranoid about them. So I am. I might remove them right now and see how easy it is to remove them. Shouldn't be too difficult, but it's refitting the new ones, I'd say, is going to be a bit of a pain. We have rectifier number 2. It came in the mail literally the next day after installing the new other rectifier. So this is the MUR 410G. We were looking for an MUR 410. The G doesn't really make a difference as far as I'm and it's just a generic rectifier diode. So we're going to install this and literally hope that our new thermistor, new fuse, and new rectifiers fix the issue. So I'm going to put this on pause. I'm going to carry on after I get all this installed. Right, we have the rectifiers installed. So here is a look at the job. The soldering work on the one on the left of the diode rectifier is not the greatest. I'll say it's not my greatest soldering, but it works, and I've checked it with the multimeter. Everything's all connected. It's a nice big chunk of solder on it, so it's not going to come loose. And yeah, I guess the only thing we can do is turn it on now and hope. So I'm going to put this all back into the Macintosh and we're going to find out if this works. So the Macintosh is back together and no screws have been put into the back of it. I still have screws left over to tighten everything down. We have not turned it on yet, so we are going to plug it in to our step-down converter. And kind of afraid of this. We have nothing. Very strange. It's not blowing up now anymore. I'll take it apart again. We're going to check to see what's going on. So apparently the fuse blew again, so another one bites the dust. Now I don't know what is it. I'm just going to try it one more time. Okay. So I believe I've fixed one issue, but still seems to be blowing that fuse every single time. So I just have to figure out what could be blowing that fuse.